Every coffee needs a lotus.
It's nice easing back into old routines. Only now, with extra care. Let's do it for ourselves, for our loved ones, for everyone's safety.
Hurry up, let's go. Let's go.
And staying safe starts at home.
Nice.
From how we work and learn, to the little ways we find joy. If you must head out, take extra care. Making a small effort, being mindful, they go a long way to keeping us all safe. The health of all depends on each one of us. So let's work together, using new tools and keeping to our new habits to protect the people we love. At work, let's all be good team players.
Hi, good morning. How are you? Good.
A little distance between us today will be good for us all tomorrow. A little care can protect the one thing that means the world to us. So let's do our part.
The views and opinions expressed by the speaker Host, commentator, or other third party in Ariva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass are those of the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and do not necessarily reflect and represent the views and opinions of Ariva. Furthermore, Ariva does not warrant, express, or imply the merchantability and fitness for a particular purpose of any product information, service, or process presented by the speaker, host, commentator, or third party, and Ariva specifically disclaims any legal liability or responsibility for the accuracy, completeness, or usefulness of any product information, service, or process presented. Finally, material or information presentation, opinion, process, or service by, on any trade name, trademark, manufacturer, or otherwise during Ariva webinars, e-learning events, and/or virtual masterclass do not constitute or imply Ariva's endorsement or recommendation of such opinion, process, service, item, or organization.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Ariva Academy's first free live webinar for 2023. How to manage employee sickness, absence, and employee return to work. I'm Kate, and I am excited to be with everyone this afternoon. We are going to learn a lot together. So now, before we start our webinar, I have a few reminders to make sure that our program will run smoothly the whole afternoon. Ariva is committed to protecting your privacy. Hence, stricter security of this webinar has been implemented. So for better viewing of your Zoom experience, we encourage you to please update your Zoom application by visiting their website. And for those of you who are using their mobile gadgets to view this webinar, you can go to either the Google Play Store or the Apple Store, so you can download and install the Zoom app. Now, I want to know who here is joining an Ariva Academy webinar for the first time. If it's your first time, can you type hi here in the chat box? Also, let us know where you are located right now. I was informed we have a lot of participants from out of town and also from other places. So let me acknowledge our friends who are viewing us all the way from Abra, from Aurora Bel Air, from Bacolod City, from Baguio City, from Bataan, from Batangas, from Bukidnon, Butuan, Cagayan de Oro, wow, Cagayan Valley, Camarines Norte, from Cebu, from Compostela Valley, from Davao del Norte, from Davao del Sur, from Ilocos Norte, from Iloilo, from Isabela, from Leyte, Occidental Mindoro, from Misamis Occidental, Negros Oriental, from Nueva Ecija, hello, from those who are in Pampanga, also from South Cotabato, and Tarlac, Zambales, and Zamboanga, hello, Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat. We also have friends who are viewing us from Doha, Qatar, from Pakistan, and also from Thailand. Hello, world. So good afternoon. I am really excited. We have a lot of participants, not just only from the Philippines, but outside the country as well. So welcome to Ariva Academy, especially those who are joining us for the first time. And for those of you who have joined us in the past, welcome back. We are happy to have you here again with us. Now, Happy New Year, everyone. Yes, before I forget, Happy New Year. I am wishing a lot of blessings for everyone this year. Okay, let's do an audio check. I want to make sure that once our speaker is on screen, you will be able to hear her discussion clearly. So please type 111 here in the chat box if you are able to hear me loud and clear. You can also type 222 if you can't hear anything, or type 2121 if you can hear me, but the sound that you're hearing is breaking up or I sound choppy or robotic. You can also type question mark if you don't understand what is happening. We'll try to help you out. Okay, I am seeing a lot of 111s and a few 2121s and 222. For those of you who are having troubles with their audio, please have it checked. Ask help from someone so that you're sure that once our speaker is on screen, you'll be able to hear the discussion clearly. Okay, thank you so much for that. I'm seeing 143. Thank you so much. We love you as well. Okay, so later this afternoon, we'll have a 10-minute break. Something exciting will happen during our break time, so watch out for that. I'll be announcing that. Participants' microphones will be temporarily disabled by our administrator during the discussion to avoid interruptions. But for those of you who might have questions, during our Q&A portion at the end of our session, you can click the raise hand button. Will allow you to ask your question directly to our speaker. Or you can also type your question here in the chat box. And during the Q&A portion, I will be reading them. Just a reminder for everyone so that your attendance and you will be able to receive your certificate. Please make sure that your camera is turned on all throughout our session. Okay, so please make sure your videos are on all throughout our session. Thank you for that. An e-certificate of attendance will be awarded to participants who will successfully complete the entire virtual masterclass. And as I have mentioned, if your camera is turned on, that will be proof of your attendance. And they will be available 3 to 5 days after the e-learning session. Please help us build and improve our service with your comments and feedback. You can scan this QR code that will bring you to the feedback form. At the end of our session, we will also post a link to this feedback form. And then just send it back to us after you fill it out. We'll greatly appreciate it. Thank you for that. Okay. For those of you who don't have cameras, please send a message directly to Ariva Academy Philippines here in the chat box. Thank you for that. Now, I am sure you're all eager to get to know our speaker. Let me introduce her. Our speaker has been in the field of human resources function for more than 2 decades. Versatile in her field of competence, she has immense knowledge and the skills in all facets of the human resources function, focusing on people operations and business partnering. At present, she acts as executive coach for senior business leaders and lead facilitator of the following executive and leaders learning program: coaching and mentoring, leading strategic growth, maximizing people's network contribution, building executive presence, and communicating the executive way. She recently accredited by UK Chartered Professionals in Human Resources as Global Training Partner and acts as lead facilitator for human resources professionals and leaders who would like to acquire CPHR certification. She's a sought-after resource person for HR learning conferences, specifically in the areas of organization development, total rewards, and employee engagement. So, ladies and gentlemen, let us welcome our speaker, Ms. Vivian Cruz.
Hi, good afternoon.
Good morning, Coach Vivian. Good afternoon, I'm sorry.
Good afternoon, Kate. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope everyone can hear me clearly.
We can hear you loud and clear.
Okay, so I think, Kate, no, let's start the ball rolling.
Yes, please. We're excited to listen to you already.
Okay, so I hope everyone are able to see my screen. And of course, at the end of the session, Kate and I will be entertaining questions from your end. No? Okay, so thank you very much, Ariva, for inviting me over to share some insights and thoughts about how to manage employee sickness and employee return to work. And in this session, this afternoon session, we will be talking about the value of achieving organization and employee productivity. Of course, I understand probably all of the people in this room, Kate, are already familiar in what productivity is because it's a byword in the business context. But I just would like to highlight how important productivity is in terms of organization success. Then, as we started, actually it happened sometime late last year when we started to return to the office already, wherein we request employees to report for work almost like every day in the office. So we will be sharing some thoughts, some insight, and some experiences that I also have had with my clients when we rolled it out. Okay, and so that our participants would be able to get, to get some experiences on how to manage it more seamlessly. And of course, we will be discussing about employee sickness and how does it affect productivity and how we can effectively manage it. Okay, so sabi nga natin, game na ba kayo? Naku, parang hindi pa. So can we see a thumbs up sign? Okay, so we're good to go. Okay, so sabi nga natin, Okay, and I would like to start my conversation by saying it's all start and end with productivity. So as we are all are aware, what do we mean by productivity? Productivity means output. Okay, what have we achieved at the end of the day? In fact, others are now talking about productivity, not just an output, but as an outcome, meaning after you reach the output, what's next for the business? It's not about just getting it done, but it's also trying to understand the impact of your output to the achievement of the organization's success. So I started this conversation because when we talk about return to office and we talk about employee sickness, I would like you to think through about productivity. How does it affect your productivity? Why are we requesting people or mandating our people now to report to the office on a daily basis or on a hybrid arrangement? Why do we manage? Why do we need to manage unplanned absences, wherein sickness is one of it? Because all of these things affect productivity. Okay, and why do we need to manage productivity? So it started with, of course, the organization performance. What do we want to achieve? As I always highlight when I do roll out conversation about performance management, sometimes or most of the time we have the tendency to just look into individual performance. Nag-perform ba si Flor this year or hindi? Kina-achieve ba ni Michelle yung sinabi nating dapat na ma-achieve niya o hindi? Okay, but one thing that we need to highlight in here is that we need to be mindful in terms of how the individual performance, when consolidated, is able to achieve organization goals and target. So everything that we do in our organization must be aligned towards achieving organizational goals and target. And we can only measure that if we're able to achieve it by understanding or by linking yung ating individual performance to organization performance. So having said so that organization performance matters when you talk about productivity, it's very important for us to ensure that it's translated into organization productivity. So sabi nga natin, when you talk about organization performance, it's not just about people. It's also about the effective management of our resources and making sure that we're able to achieve our goals and targets. But probably 60 or 70% of the resource that we need to manage to be able to achieve the performance target works on organization productivity, or the productivity, the consolidated output of our people. During the pandemic, or pandemic pa rin naman pala tayo ngayon. By the way, is everyone okay speaking in Tagalog? So just let me know if we have foreign nationals in the room. But
Coach Vivian, we have foreign nationals with us today.
Okay, good. Thanks, Kate, for reminding me. Okay, so with that, we already have experienced that in the early part of the pandemic, that we are not able to report for work. Our people were not able to render work, even work from home, because we are not yet ready. And during that time, there's zero productivity. And we realize how important people are to the success of the organization. And so when we talk about organization productivity, we talk about the collective productivity of our people. And so therefore, employee productivity matters. Individual productivity. In fact, as we always mentioned, okay, how do we measure the strength of the organization? We measure the strength of the chain by testing its weakest link, right? So if the weakest part of the chain is strong, then we are building a strong organization. So if you notice, employee productivity when consolidated, when everyone is productive, okay, so the organization productivity would be high, and 70 to 80% chance of the organization to succeed is also high. In fact, I've seen it in some of the clients that I have had during in the consulting world, wherein despite the limited resources, despite the limited funds, the limited capital, okay, brought about by the pandemic, they were able to realize their organization goals and target. Why? Because of organization productivity. Because their leaders are able to rally their people to be productive. And so therefore, they still emerge as a winner or successful despite the adversity that we are in. So when we talk about productivity, I just would like to highlight that we are all familiar with the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? Wherein we have 5 needs that we need to meet. And in here, when we talk about productivity, I would like all of us to be on board, okay, in terms of how do we ensure and why do we need productivity, people and organization productivity. First one is, of course, to survive. Way back 2020, a lot of businesses died down naturally because they're not able to operate their business even remotely. And so they are not able to survive. Okay? So survival is one of the things that we thrive during the pandemic or during the first few months of the pandemic. Okay, so which is why we work and we look into different ways and avenue on how to make sure that we can still drive productivity despite the limitation in movement. Next one is to grow the business, to grow the organization. So people, we need to make sure that the organization is productive so that we can continuously grow as an organization. As shared to you a while ago, despite the limitation in the resources of the client that I have had, because the organization is productive, they're able to set milestones for the business. And they continue to expand and grow the business despite the pandemic, despite the lack of funding. Why? Because they're able to optimize employee and organization productivity. And ultimately, if we do that, then we can be assured of the organization's success. And who doesn't want to be part of a successful organization? Everyone would like to be part of an organization's success, right? So in this perspective, okay, we need to be mindful. We need to take note that productivity is needed. Okay, in fact, in every phase of the organization. Okay, because if we cannot afford our people to be productive, then it will plateau, the organization status will plateau, and naturally it will die down. And so that's why productivity is a business requirement, okay, and it's a basis for business decisions. Okay, so I highlighted that because during the first few months of pandemic, we are all conscious to go on a work from home arrangement, okay, if you are in office-based setup, okay, or to find ways on how to continuously operate the business because we need to achieve organization productivity. In fact, during those times, organization productivity is not 100%. Based on research, it's only more or less around, when we started the work from home or hybrid arrangement, we're only 30% productive. And then when we learned the craft, it increased to around 70%, right? And we try to make the most out of it because of the limitations that are enforced to us by the government. So in this perspective, it is a business decision that we made to go into a work from home or into a hybrid setup or to provide shuttle service or to do the things that you did as members of the leadership team because it's a business requirement. Okay, so therefore, any decision that we need to do in a business, I would like to highlight to everyone to always link it to productivity. There has been a lot of conversation in the past or in the recent times wherein a lot of experts are saying we didn't learn because the moment IATF guidelines is lowered down to level 1 and we receive the guidelines that everybody can now return to office, the first things that a lot of organization did is to announce return to office or to declare a return to office policy. And even I was thinking, what have we learned during the pandemic that we can bring forth, okay, moving forward? So if you are productive during the work from home or from the hybrid arrangement, why do you have to go to the office, to report to the office on a daily basis to carry out the task assigned to you? Okay. Is that a good question? And normally that's the question that you will be receiving from your people when you already tell them that we now need to return to the office. Right? So the questions, like I have a client right now, we've been talking about it, and they told me that, Vivian, people are asking, we're able to perform, we're able to discharge our function while working from home. Now, why do we have to go to the office? Why do we now have to report for work? And so therefore, okay, how do we manage business decisions, okay, or business directions that employee must now return to work seamlessly? Okay, when I say seamlessly, meaning people understand the need and people accept that they now need to report to work. A lot of us bank on the legal guidance. IATF level 1 says we can now report to work. So now we can all report to work. Okay, and was it wrong? No. But is there a better way of doing it? The answer is yes. Okay, and I would like to share with you, okay, 6 steps that you may want to consider when you are announcing or you are managing a return to office policy. First one is check the legal guidance, and I will discuss that later. Okay, so I will just highlight what are those 6 steps. So first, we need to be mindful what is the legal framework or the legal guidance governing return to office. What are the health protocols? Then we need to build a business case, align the business levers, identify delay and resistance sources, execute with a strong leadership message, and make sure that when we implement, we also do follow through. So first step is check legal guidance. When I say check legal guidance, it's not just about, hey guys, now level 1, we now have to return to the office. Or we talk about, but the law says you can now return to the office. But what I'm saying is that legal guidance here means what are the things that we should be cautious of when we ask employees to return to office, like the health protocols, right? So what are the health protocols that we need to consider? Are we still going to apply social distancing? So you need to be guided on what are the legal framework. But rather than just telling people what do we need or why are we going to the office, rather than just telling them that it's about the IATF guidelines that you can now ask people to return to the office, I would like you to go one step deeper by understanding what are the rationale or what are the reasons why you would like people to return to office now. Because people already have been accustomed to a work from home or to what we call a hybrid work arrangement. So we cannot always just highlight that this is a management prerogative. And by the way, a lot of us always highlight that. This is a management prerogative, you have to do it. But let's go, as we always say it, let's skim dip one layer. Let's peel it off by another layer. What are the reasons for the business okay, for announcing a return to office policy. So let's build a business case for that. Okay, yes, it's true. Okay, people are productive during the work from home setup, but it's not 100% productivity. What are the challenges that we face during the work from home arrangement? Has your business suffered cybersecurity issues? Okay, one thing that I realize right now with the work from home arrangement is that a lot of our employees do not return company tools and gadgets when they leave the company. So what are those challenges that the business faced during the work from home or during the hybrid work arrangement? And those are good business cases to justify the need for us to return to office. So it's not just about because the IATF guidelines say so, but highlight to them that the return to office is a business need. So a client of mine, this is what we did. Because their people are challenging them as to why they need to report to office. And the company even rented a bigger office to accommodate all people who will be reporting for work because of the new social distancing guidelines. And so we highlight to them the challenges. Yes, we're able to deliver, but comes with delivery is exposure of data. Okay, so there has been a lot of data security risk that happened in the past. Okay, the client interface has suffered. So you have your performance metrics, you have your indicators, and that serve as a basis for you to decide as to why you now need to return to office. And so they can use that as a good business case, rather than just tell people that, hey, it's now level 1, we now need to return to the office. Second is that we also need to review our existing policies and guidelines. When you ventured into a different work arrangement at the peak of the pandemic, you did some changes in terms of your organization policies and practices. And so therefore, when you now go to the return to office setup, it's high time for us to review again your business levers. Why? Because a lot of times when we do implement and we did not check whether all systems, processes, structures are in place and are aligned with the change that we would like to achieve, we do not succeed. We failed. And then we will ask one another, why did we fail? We failed because we did not look into interactions and integrations. We failed because we tried to achieve it based on silo. So when we talk about aligning the business levers, it is very important for us, okay, that we review the structures and the processes that we have. Is it still aligned? The competencies of our people. As we mentioned, when the business model changes, the competency of people changes as well. And so therefore, it is very important for us to take note of the things that our people need to learn, the competencies that our people need to acquire, and the habits that they need to let go as you change your business model or your work arrangement. You also need to check in, are you rewarding the right culture? So those are things that we need to be mindful of, okay, when we implement a return to office, or in fact, whenever we make some organization changes. Are the existing structures, processes, people competencies, rewards, and culture aligned to the change that we would like to achieve, or to the effect of the change that we would like to achieve? And so this is one thing that we always forget prior to implementing change. What we do is we always check what the change that we would like to see, implement it, without checking first if the organization is ready and is supported properly to implement the change. Then next one is we need to be able to anticipate the barriers. What are the barriers and the obstacles that we are seeing? What are the potential sources of delay and resistance? We need to check in. If you're gonna be implementing a return to office policy or strategy or approach, what forces may cause delay or resistance? Is it, for example, the vulnerability of your people to COVID. So for example, remember last year, 2022, you started January in a return to office, and then what happened? After 3 days, you lock down again, okay, because of the Omicron virus. So what forces? Is this external? Is this your own people who resist the return to office policy? So what can possibly cause delay? Are your facilities ready? So do you have the tools and trades that you need to execute? And so therefore, when you proactively consider the potential external and internal causes of delays and resistance, then you would be able to manage it proactively. You would be able to anticipate and be able to mitigate, if not eliminate, the risk involved. And these are the things that you would be able to highlight and things that you are being mindful of, okay, when you implement now your your policy on the particular return to office. So meaning forewarned is forearmed. It means, diba, anticipating is a proactive approach in trying to understand what can possibly cause delay. And be truthful, be candid, as I always say, be brutally frank to discuss it within your team so that you can prepare, or you would be able to be mindful and come up with your mitigating action points to minimize, if not eliminate, the risk. Okay. So I hope I'm making sense. So we discussed already the first step. Okay. It's understand the legal framework. Okay. But we will not be using that just a defense, but we will be using that to make sure that we observe the protocols, okay, that are required by the government in a return to office policy. Second, we must be able to build a business case. Okay, why do we need to return to the office? And we need to highlight the challenges that we face and how does it impact organization productivity. Our people must realize and must be able to appreciate that the return to office is a business need, rather than just a whim of their leaders because they would like to see all people in the office. That's the biggest challenge. Our people just simply thought, okay, that you all just would like them, just that leaders only would like to see them in the office. But by building a business case, we would be able to drive real intention as to why return to office is a must. It's a need and not a want. Okay? And then, of course, third, align our systems, processes, structures, competencies, culture, and rewards, okay, to make sure, okay, that these are all calibrated and synchronized as we implement the return to office policy. And fourth, anticipate what can possibly go wrong. Do you expect people to resign? Do you expect majority of your people to resign and therefore can cause delays in the implementation of your return to office? If you're able to anticipate that, then you will be able to come up with your mitigating action plans. Okay? So, and of course, before we implement, okay, before we implement any action points or any policy, okay, it would be good to come up with a strong leadership message. What would be our tone in the top, from the top? How can we be creative in terms of communicating the policy, communicating the need to return to office? So, during my time, okay, as an HR newbie, okay, so that was kind of because I'm a Gen X person, by the way. Okay, I'm proud to tell that I belong to the Gen X, to the Generation X. Whenever there are changes, you normally see it at the bulletin board. Am I correct? In the form of memo. Okay, and so when the use of email has been introduced, It's still the same. It's still a memo, but sent via email. And in our practice, a lot of our people doesn't read emails, especially if they see it in memo format. Okay, and so therefore, let us be very creative when we come up with a leadership message to make sure that we would be able to engage, we would be able to communicate, or we'll be able to get the message across. So the leadership message is not actually a document, okay, but it's a strategy that will touch the hearts and the minds of our people to get the buy-in. Gone are the days that the mindset of leaders is just when we issue a memo, people don't have any choice but to follow. It's now very important for us to also be mindful that we need to get the buy-in or sell the idea to our people so that they would embrace the change positively. And so, which is why recent trends in leadership messaging is to come up with stories. So which is why the storytelling technique becomes a powerful tool for leaders in sending communication across or sending message across to their team members. And so when you create a leadership message, and by the way, regardless of your position and rank within your organization, I would like to share with you that when you communicate, it would be good to make sure that you achieve these four. So this four answers the questions, the why, the what, the how, and the how much. Why? The why is a summary of the situation that we are in right now that forces us to change or to initiate the change. Why are we now forced to return to office despite 2 years and a half of doing a hybrid work arrangement? And you will always go back to your business case. Then, second is the what. So the what creates a good description of the reasons why we need to go to the office, why we need to report to the office, and what are the things that we need to be mindful of. Okay, the how is your implementation plan. Are you going to approach it simultaneously? Are you going to approach it on a staggered basis? Are you going to give leeway to people? Are you going to provide shuttle service for the first month, etc.? So what are the things that you're going to do and how are you going to implement it? And the fourth one is the how much. How much is not related to money all the time. But how much is how are we going to measure success? So if you're able to build your business case, build it up or link it up with productivity and measure how much based on productivity, then our people would be able to understand and embrace the need for you to go to a return to office work arrangement. And of course, when we now implement, it's very important for us to do a periodic review. Do you do feedback sessions? Do you ask people how they feel? It's important that when you implement a particular strategy, or in this case, a return to office strategy, we ask them from time to time, okay, what's the experience? Are they able to adjust already? Okay, and what are the things, okay, that we think we can improve on? So that's part of the continuous improvement. So, and we can generate continuous improvement ideas based on feedback that we receive and based on the lessons learned through the implementation. So it's always good that upon implementation, regularly, say, for the first 3 months, you check every month. If there's no problem, then you check on a quarterly basis until such time that everyone is now accustomed or adjusted to the new setup. And do not forget to celebrate small successes. So if you're able to achieve 100% productivity on your first month of implementation of return to office, celebrate it. Celebrate is not always eating together. Okay, celebrate means patting each other's back, rallying our people. What does it mean to the company? And those are things that are very important so that people are mindful of that the sacrifices that they made is actually paying off. Okay, because for most of our people, returning to office is a sacrifice because of the public commute, because of the traffic, okay, but generally because they have been used to the life already of a hybrid arrangement. And lastly, do not forget to institutionalize. Okay, institutionalizing does not always mean policy writing. Institutionalizing means embedding it as part of your daily life. Embedding it, okay, to make sure that you are able to manage effectively, okay, the changes that you implemented in the form of the return to office policy. Okay, so if I would sum it up, so first is, again, understand the legal framework. Okay, second is build a business case for it. Third is make sure that we look into the processes, the structures, the competencies of our people, okay, the rewards and the culture, okay, and take that into account when we implement. Okay, the fourth is to anticipate, okay, and identify what can possibly cause delay. Fifth is create a strong leadership message, highlighting the why, the what, the how, and the how much, and conducting periodic review and feedback to identify areas for improvement, okay, so that we can perfect it, so that we can continuously improve. And at the same time, getting feedback from people is our way of listening. Our way of listening and letting them know that, yes, we heard you, okay, and yes, we are with you, and yes, change requires sacrifices, okay? But at the end of the day, the light at the end of the tunnel, okay, the goal that we would like to achieve matters most, okay? Because when the organization achieves success, it's not just about the organization, but it also means people's success as well. Okay, so yan. Okay, so those are my thoughts in terms of managing employee return to work positively. Okay, so Kate, are we going to pause for a break or should we continue?
Yes, we can go on a break right now, Coach Vivian. Thank you so much. We'll see you after 10 minutes. Okay, everyone, good afternoon. I mentioned a while ago that something exciting will happen during our break time because this time Ariva is in the mood to give away prizes. So I hope you guys are ready. We are going to play a game, and the game is called, yes, it's called Guess the Movie. Eto, we will find out who here are movie buffs, who subscribed to Netflix, Disney Plus, HBO Go, and other streaming apps. Okay. Oh, I am seeing someone here in the chat box saying me. Okay, let's see, Cherry, if you're really a movie buff. Okay, so this is how the game goes. We will be showing short clips or short trailers of a certain movie. What you have to do is you have to be the first one to type the complete and correct title of that movie here in the chat box. You have to be very fast in typing. Again, it should be the complete and correct title. If you're the first one to get it right, what will you win? You will receive 200 pesos. So, the 200 pesos will be sent direct to your GCash account. So very easy, okay? So I hope everyone's excited. We don't have movies yet. We're not showing anything yet. Don't get that. A lot of you are saying Wednesday already. Let's see if that will be shown, okay? But for you guys to really get the feel of the game, let's do a trial run, okay? This is just a sample. No prize for this one yet, but I want you to start guessing the title of this movie. Let's watch it. Wow. The chat box is moving so fast, but I am seeing one answer, and you are all saying Titanic. Actually, someone typed Titanic a while ago, even before we started playing a film. Okay. But let us see. Did you get it right? Is it really Titanic? What's the title? Yes, it is Titanic. Okay, so you guys have the idea already. Again, a reminder, it should be the complete and correct title. So this next clip will give you 200 pesos if you get it right. So let's watch it.
Princess Mia.
Mia Thermopolis has everything a girl could ever want.
I have my own mall. I'm glad you like it. This is so cool!
Except the one thing she's always dreamed of.
I'm ready for a romantic fairy tale love.
Okay. I am seeing really a lot of answers to our technical team. Can you help me out finding out if someone got it right? But let me just read the answers that I got here. Okay, we have The Devil Wears Prada, Selena's Gold, The Princess Diaries. Princess Diary. Okay, different from Princess Diaries. We have, what else? Princess Hours. What else? What else? Princess Sophia. Let me just check. Okay, someone is spamming. Please don't spam the chat box so that we can find out if we have a winner. We also have The Princess Diaries. Princess Diaries 3, Switch Princess. Okay. To our technical team, please send me a message privately. So I'm having a hard time reading all the answers because my chat box is moving too fast. Okay. We also have The Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement. The Princess Diary. Okay. Let us reveal what is the title of that movie. It is, The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement. Okay. Let me see. I read a while ago from Alea, The Princess Diaries 2, The Royal Engagement. But the real title is The Princess Diaries 2, Royal Engagement, without the word the before the royal engagement. So sorry, Leia, you almost got it correct. Almost. Again, I mentioned a while ago, it should be the complete and correct title. Okay, spelling should be correct and the words should be the right words. Okay, but you have it already. You have the idea. Mary Lauren Lewis, sorry, because we already showed the title before you type that in. Okay, let's try another one. Let's watch this clip.
All that playing with swords, shooting guns, racing around on horses. Such sweaty pursuits are hardly the work of a gentleman.
No one has seen his face.
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. I had impure thoughts about a man.
Lustful?
Yes, lustful.
But everyone knows his mark.
Oh, again. There's a bomb here in the chat box. It keeps on moving too fast, but let me just read a lot of your answers. A lot of you typed Zorro, but there are different spellings. Some with just one R and the others with two R's. We also have some other answers are, let me just go down. The Mask of Zorro, Mask of Zorro, Legend of Zorro. We also have The Mask of Zorro. Okay. There's really a lot of 200 plus answers, but let us give what is the correct title of this movie. And it is The Mask of Zorro. And the first one who was able to type it correctly, we have Hannah May Peralta. Congratulations. We have our first winner. Hannah, you will receive 200 pesos to your GCash account. So this is what you have to do, okay, Hannah? send your GCash account number to Ariva Academy Philippines here in the chat box. Send it to us privately, okay? Don't send it here. Don't send it to everyone. Again, send it privately. And then, Hannah, because you won already, you won't be able to join the game anymore, so that your other co-participants will get a chance in getting the last 200 pesos that I'm giving away. Congratulations again, Hannah. And to the rest of our participants, the last 200 pesos might be yours. So let's watch this next clip.
Every day, Frodo moves closer to Mordor. How do we know Frodo is alive? What does your heart tell you?
Come, Master. Come to Smeagol.
This is your test. Every path you have trod through wilderness, through war.
Okay, here's the answers. Twilight, Lord of He Rings, Lord of the King, Lord of the Ring, the Lord of the Rings. What else? Lord of the Rings. Let me check the other answers. The Ring. We have Lord of the Rings, Return of the Ing. Gandalf. What else? Lord of the Rings, The Return of King. The Lord of the Rings, The Twin Towers. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings. Again, to our technical team, please help me out here. Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings. So I have a lot of answers. Do we have a winners? Lord of the Rings, The Two Tower. Lord of the Rings. What else? What else? The Habit. I'm seeing that. Lord of the Rings 2. Okay, what else? Let us reveal the title of that movie. What is the title? It is The Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. Okay, I was able to read that. Let me just go back in the chat box one more. Give me a few minutes, everyone. I want to make sure that the first one who was able to type it correctly gets the prize. Let me check. It is The Two Towers, right? Let me, Lord of the Rings, The Two Tower. Oh, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. I'm having a hard time finding. There you go. Oh, Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. Saya. Lacking one word. Lord of the Rings, Two Towers. We have, this is Phi and Pilares. Is it Phi and Pilares? Congratulations, Phi and. Type it correctly. So you will also receive 200 pesos from Ariva Academy. Again, just like our first winner, please send your GCash account number to Ariva Academy Philippines here in the chat box. Congratulations to Pai Ann. Congratulations to our two winners and to everyone who joined. Thank you so much for joining. I hope you guys had fun. Now I'll move on with my other announcements. Again, we'll be waiting for your GCash account number so that we can send you your prizes. Congratulations, everyone. Okay, let me move on. Stay on top of our insights and updates. Stay connected with Ariva Academy. You can visit us on social media, join Ariva Academy's Facebook group. You can also like Ariva Academy's Facebook page, follow Ariva Academy in LinkedIn, and also visit our website, www.ariva.com.ph. And I am inviting everyone to be a part of the growing Ariva Academy Viber community. You can scan this QR code or input our number and join us. Okay, we are excited to see you there. Now, for those of you who might have missed the free live webinars that we had starting 2020, you can all catch them in our YouTube channel. So subscribe to our channels, Ariva Academy and Ariva Talks. Here are some of our upcoming learning events. So we are inviting everyone to be a part of this one. January 12th, this is for tomorrow already. We have a cost-effective purchasing and efficient procurement management. This will be for tomorrow, January 12th. Next week, January 17, we have developing positive attitude and winning mindset. Again, the topic is developing positive attitude and winning mindset. Another free live webinar from Ariva Academy. On January 19, effective credit management and debt collection strategy. January 20, we have positive progressive discipline for the Philippine workplace. On January 25, strategic thinking, analysis, and business sales execution. January 26, we have employment compensation and employee benefits forum. We have invited speakers coming from DOLE, from SSS, from PhilHealth, and Pag-ibig as well. So again, this will be on January 26th already. The Perfect Pitch, Public Speaking and Presentation Skills Breakthrough, happening on January 27th. On February 3, we have another free live webinar, and the topic is Design Thinking Demystified, the power of design thinking in business. Another one on February 4, how to boost work productivity and coping with stress and anxiety in turbulent times. Again, this will be on February 4 already. On February 8, another free live webinar with the topic, the value of mid-level management, how to empower middle management to drive organizational success. BIR computerized accounting system, BIR compliance for medium and large taxpayers on February 9. And for those of you who are interested in inviting our speakers like Coach Vivian to conduct a program exclusive for your team or for your company, Ariva Academy can help you with that. We can conduct in-house trainings for your team. Let us know what topic you have in mind. Here are some of the programs that we offer, but we have a lot more than that. So just give us a call or send us an email here at the office, and we'll help you partner with the right speaker under Ariva Academy Speakers Bureau for that. There you go. Now I'm giving the floor back to Coach Vivian.
Okay, thank you very much, Kate. So
you're welcome.
So congratulations to the winners. So you are 200 pesos richer than us. Okay, and so and it shows how fast you can type, and let's also show how we spend time in Netflix to wind up time during the hiatus. Okay, so now let's resume our conversation. So I think most of you joined the topic to discuss more or to know more about how to manage employee sickness absences. Okay, so let me first try to check in terms of the possible causes as to why people got sick. And in the past, Kate, because I came from the manufacturing industry, we always tell people they got sick, okay, because of hangover, okay, or because they drank too much the night before. And so, but therefore, let's try to understand what drives employee sickness or what makes people sick, okay, and what makes people apply for sick leave or medical leave. So the first one is, of course, illness. So right now, so whether it's valid or not valid, so people claim they are sick. So, but I would like to assume, because I would like to look at things, okay, truthfully. So people got sick, okay, because of probably COVID. So that's one of the most common illnesses right now. Flu, okay, fever, respiratory tract infection, and others. Okay, so people may really be sick, which is why they go for leave of absence. Second is now, especially in the pandemic, this now comes up into light, and we are now very much open to discuss this. the mental health concerns of our people. So, in fact, even prior to return to office policy, we already have a lot of employees suffering from what you call mental health issues. And in a company that we help in building their mental wellness program, what we found out during the research is that even though they are working from home or they are not exposed, okay, on site, people still get stressed. Stressed brought about by some family concerns, a family matters issue that affects the way they work and affects their mental wellness. So if you notice, when you talk about mental health concern, it can be acquired or it can be generated personally or from work. Okay, so regardless of what work arrangement you are in, okay, people do acquire mental health issues. Then next is stress or tiredness. It could be physical stress, it could be mental stress. It could be the overwhelming workload that we have. It could be the problems we face at home. Okay, it could be physical tiredness brought about by commuting or brought about by our obligation to manage work and personal life. So then we also got sick. And in the past, that's the three of those items that we're looking at. In fact, most recent is the mental health. But there's another one that is now a byword for business, and what we called quiet quitting. You've heard of that, right? Quiet quitting. People are still within the company, but they're no longer part of the company. So how could that be? So that's quiet quitting. People are already demotivated. People do no longer feel connected with the company. So therefore, any opportunity that they can use to file for medical leave, to file for sick leave, or for whatever leave of absence, they will acquire it because they're no longer interested being part of the organization. Okay, so these are the four common themes that we see that drives employee sickness or employee sickness absences. And in the past, the way we address it is based on what? Based on our company code of conduct. Right? So what is the point? So when people got sick, you conduct home visit, and when you found out that they're not, then you subject them to employee discipline. Okay, then you also talk to them and you advise them. So in the past, because I used to be an HR manager of a manufacturing company. When people is always on sick leave, what we do is we subject them to medical rehabilitation. So means we talk to the doctor, okay, and we ask the doctor to do diagnosis and to let them rest for a period of weeks or months and then get back to work when they're ready. But of course, it takes time, okay, and productivity is already lost. And so aside from those things that you are presently doing, okay, I just would like to highlight two more techniques that you may want to consider when you manage employee sickness and absences. The first one is, have we tried reaching out to them and actively listen? Meaning, have we reached out to them, okay, to understand why are they sick, what causes their illnesses, and most of the time it's really them talking rather than us telling them what we see, what we observe, and what should they be doing. So, and active listening, I always defined it as listening to what is being said and also listening to what is not being said. Okay, so meaning people also need some airtime. Sometimes people needs someone to listen to them. And it's something that we can do to understand what's causing their illnesses. Okay, and so when we do active listening, I would like to share with you a technique which we called ALPS. ALPS is an acronym that stands for A, attention. When you listen to someone, give them your full attention. A lot of us listen and at the same time text or chat because we always tell we are doing multitasking. But somehow it affects okay, the way we listen and the quality of the words that we are able to absorb. So therefore, it would be good that when you do active listening, you really give the 100% of your time, okay, to the person who would like to share it to you. Second is listen to understand. Okay. Most of the time, we listen to reply or to respond. But when you listen to understand, you exercise empathy. Listening to understand doesn't mean agreeing, but listening to understand means taking note of their perspective and understanding where they're coming from. Next is paraphrasing. I always share this. Paraphrasing is not repeating it as is. Paraphrasing is sharing to the person how you're able to capture the thoughts. And this is also an opportunity for you to clarify, for example. So, Winlor, you're telling me everything is good. But actually, the way you said it, the way you sound, the way you shared to me, okay, your okay doesn't necessarily mean okay. So what is it? What is it that you're feeling right now? So paraphrasing is putting it into context, into the way you understand and perceive it, which is why when you talk about active listening, it's not just listening to what is being said, but it's also listening to what is not being said. It's actually more about sensing. It's the sensitivity, our sensitivity to people's needs, to people's feelings, to how they feel during a particular situation that made them be sick, okay, or be absent from work. And the last one is shows interest and willingness to support the person. And so sometimes you don't even need to give them advices. You just listen. Listen to what is being said and listen to what is not being said. Okay, because sometimes when people are already able to vent out, they're already good, especially when they're stressed or when they're mentally, they have some mental issues. So sometimes after speaking to someone, after sharing, after something, as we call it, bursting it out, they're already as good as 100%. And so if that's something that you can do to your peers, to your people, to your direct reports, it's something I think that it's worth doing. Then the second one that I would like to share with you is counseling. You're already doing this. In fact, a lot of companies are doing counseling in the form of positive workforce discipline. So counseling is you do counseling conversations when you would like to reform a negative behavior, when you would like to help your employee recover and be more productive, right? And so therefore, how are you going to approach counseling? A lot of times when we do counseling, what happens is that we were the ones simply talking and telling the person, you should be doing this, you should be doing that, you should try this one out, you should try these things out. But when you do counseling and you're already doing this, I just would like to share with you a structure or an approach that you would like, that you may want to consider. And I call it the GLOWS structure. GLOWS. G is what do we need to achieve? It stands for the goal. Okay? What do you need to achieve as a team? You can always link it to the business deliverables. You can look at it in an employee health and welfare perspective, but what is the ultimate goal as to why you need the presence, why you need people to be healthy? And what are our lagging indicators? What are the goals? What are the targets that we are not able to meet because people are sick, because people are absent? Okay, and then that's the start of the conversation. When you practice GLOW, the G and the L, the goal and the lagging indicator, it must come from us because that set the tone on the conversation or the type of conversation that we would like to happen. And then O talks about the obstacles. Now you're talking and you're asking them the questions. Okay, what is it that's causing their sickness? What are the challenges? And when you talk, when you practice counseling, you also need to apply active listening. So you need to understand every obstacle, every challenge that the person, not to judge the person, okay, but to understand their perspective. And by understanding the obstacles and the barrier, you help the person also realize what would be the best option to take. What can he or she do to be better? What can he or she needs to do to be mentally well? What can he or she needs to do to be engaged? Okay, what can he or she do, okay, to be better, to be more productive? And so those are the things that you can work with your team member, okay, so that, okay, you can highlight and of course offer support. What support do they need from you? What support does your employee needs from you? Okay, does he needs from you moral guidance? Does he needs from you from time to time a person to talk to? So what are those support that you can offer, okay, to your team member? So you may want to try out active listening and counseling first as an intervention before you go to the punitive or progressive discipline approach. And when you do that, I would like to encourage you to be engaged, to be conversational, and to make the employee feel that you are after their welfare, you're after that you are concerned about their welfare, that you are concerned about how they manage their performance and how sickness affects their performance at work. And most of the time, again, based on the research that I've done last year, most of the time, the things that affect or that makes people sick, it's not driven by the company. Most of the time, it's driven by personal issues. And so therefore, if it's something that you may be able to help, or at least just listen to them, let them vent out, do that, okay? Or if you think the person really is not mentally well, okay, or is suffering from anxiety, then you can refer them to the right person who can guide and mentor them. And so when you do counseling, it does not necessarily mean that you will be the one to provide them, okay, the solutions or the interventions, but you help them, you listen to them, and you help them facilitate the conversation so that they would be able to realize, okay, what would be their best options to take. Okay, and of course, okay, at the end of the counseling conversation, there must be action points. And our role is to make sure, okay, that we support the person or we support our co-member, okay, so that they would be able to realize or undertake the action points that he agreed to do, okay, so that he can be better and he would be productive at work. So at the end of the day, as I always tell the team, we make business decisions. Everything is done because there is a need for it. It's not just a want, but it's a need. Okay, and when you talk about the need, okay, the return to office work, okay, whether you're gonna go on a hybrid work arrangement, whether you're gonna go counseling, managing employee absences, everything that we do in the business, okay, it's the end of it all. It's because we would like to achieve productivity. So when you talk about productivity and you put it at the core of all of your business decisions, it would be a lot easy for you to decide what would be the best option for your respective organization. Because again, at the end of the day, it's a business requirement. Okay, productivity is a business requirement and is a basis for making business decisions. And with that, I will turn over the floor to Kate, and I think we can entertain some questions or hear feedbacks or comments from you. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Coach Vivian. Okay, so right now we're opening the floor for questions. For those of you who have questions, you can click the raise hand button, or you can also type your questions here in the chat box. If ever you want to remain anonymous in asking your question, you can send your question directly to me here in the chat box. When I read your question, I won't be reading your name. Okay. Coach Vivian, we have some questions already. I received some questions, so let me ask them already. Okay, here, I think this is still a thing. So they're asking, do we have a recommendation on how to manage leave for those who are unvaccinated?
Okay, sorry, I'm on mute. Okay, so for those who are unvaccinated, again, we cannot force people to be vaccinated, especially if it's based on their principles and beliefs. So it's part of being diverse and inclusive. But again, you can provide them some guidance when they report to office. So you need to protect not just the person, but also the peers that he or she would be exposed to. So you can subject the person to antigen testing, okay, or to also observe health protocols. In fact, even though I know the guidelines say that we can already allow our people to remove their mask, etc. Okay, in a client of ours, no, I still suggest to them that they observe the health protocols, a more stricter health protocols. It's not just for vaccinated, but even for people who are unvaccinated as well. So again, so it would be good to have them tested on a regular basis and to still observe the a more stringent health protocols, no? Because it's not just for the people, okay, working in the office, but it's also for your people who are unvaccinated.
Okay, thank you for that. Next question. How do you deal with a wall?
Okay, so for absence without leave, so again, with due respect, Kate, for our people who are very much engaged in labor relations, okay, so but for people who are on absence without leave, I first approach it through counseling as well, because I believe that the first approach is to talk to people and to understand, okay, they may be going through some difficulty and what support we can offer to them. So I suggest you may want to try first counseling as an approach. But of course, if the AWOL continues to happen, then I also suggest that you go through the punitive approach, which is the employee discipline. So what I'm just trying to say, and again, with due respect to my peers, because I've used to be a labor relations practitioner as well, Kate, but I think we also need to understand that our employees may be going through some difficult time, and it would be good to open up and to offer case support so that you can again help them before you go to an employee discipline approach. Okay, but if you've counseled the person already, for example, like 5 times and there's no positive development, then I suggest you go through the progressive discipline approach.
Okay, thank you so much, Coach Vivian. Okay, we're receiving a lot of messages already here in the chat box. Here's the first one. What if we talk to the employee already, but he or she does not open about their situation? How can we understand them?
Okay, so it's not common for Filipinos to discuss their concerns, okay, their personal concerns or their work concerns to their immediate manager for whatever reason. So I guess primarily it's driven by the fact that they may be judged, okay, if they do so. So which is why they try to be more timid. They're more open to discuss with HR, okay, with the HR team. And so if that's if the environment is that if they're more open to discuss it with the HR team, you can conduct actually feedback session with the team members and try to do counseling. Counseling is not only done by the immediate manager. It's done by whoever is in the leadership role or in the HR role or even peers. So in fact, in one client that I have had, Kate, they have what they call peer coaches. They just put the word coaches, but it's really counselors. So people can reach out to them or they can reach out to people if they have some question, if they have some concerns about employees' attendance, and they process them. And then whatever feedback, so they are the one offering support, they are the one doing the counseling conversation instead of their managers because they feel more comfortable talking to other people. So and don't feel negative about it. I think it's common for us Asians not to be comfortable talking directly to our immediate manager about our personal issues.
Yes, okay. Thank you so much for that. Okay, we have a question from one of our viewers in our Facebook Live. This is the question of Eve. How to manage employee status when they are no longer fit to work due to sickness?
Okay, so when they are no longer fit to work due to sickness, of course, as mentioned, so there is a labor guidance for that one. So if the employee is not able to continuously work for a period of 6 months to 1 year, you can subject the employee to a medical retirement So of course, the medical retirement, it needs to be certified by a government physician. So if the employee really is physically not fit, so my suggestion is you work with the person. So let me just share with you a story of mine around probably 10 years ago. So we have an employee who actually has been on and off work due to illness. And in fact, I would be very transparent by saying I doubted sometimes if the person is really sick because he looks so well, but he would tell us that he's sick. And so we asked our company physician, what can we do, okay, to validate if the employee do really have, what is the illness of our employees? Because he will report for work 1 week and then be out for another week. And prior to that, he's been a good employee, meaning he is performing. And so we subjected him to a medical examination. I know we have annual physical examination, but this one is more than the regular annual physical examination. And in that session, there are tests that were done, and we found out that the person really has what you call tuberculosis in the bone that affects the person. And we were told by the doctor that he really needs to rest. And so we did not terminate him immediately. So we still give them guidance, assistance, because at least when he goes to the company, there's free service coming from the physician. So through that, we build partnership with the employee in terms of how to manage his health. Unfortunately, we really need to come to a decision that we need to sever ties because because the doctor already advised the employee that he cannot report for work for a long period of time if he wants to recuperate. So therefore, we would like to give him that time. So we subjected him to the medical retirement. So it's about working with your people in terms of how do you make sure that their employees' health and welfare would be the utmost priority. And if you come up with a decision to sever the ties, it's very important for your people to understand that it's about his future. So sometimes people would say they will lose income, but sometimes it's better to sever ties, to rest, and to be able to recuperate. Of course, it would be good as well if you can extend assistance to your people. If the company is not financially capable, you can coach your people, mentor your employee how to avail of the sickness benefit under SSS. So those are the things that we can extend to our people during their time of illness.
Okay, thank you. Next one. Okay, how do you deal with younger generation like Gen Z? Because sila yung madalas mag-leave.
Okay, so I've managed a shared service center. And every time I go to the office, I feel so old because 90% of the people in that office are very young. And the first thing that I did is I attend training on how to manage millennials and Gen Z. The younger generation is the future of the workforce, whether we would like to admit it or not. And so we also need to acknowledge that they have a different background or different way of doing things compared to us, the Gen X people. And so it's about acknowledging and trying to understand what's their motivation. And so you would hear them, you only live once. It's true. You only live once, right? So they would like to live life to the fullest. Okay? And for as long as they're able to deliver, they get things done, then it's something that we need to acknowledge. We cannot make them or force them to be who we are because they are of different generation. But what is important is you bring out the best in them so that they are again productive, and they achieve what we think is best for the company. But take note of this. Gen Z and millennials needs guidance and mentoring from us because what we have are wisdom coming from experience that they don't have. If you're able to mentor that or transfer that experience to these people, they will be wonderful leaders because they're very techy, they're technology savvy, the way they think is way, way advanced. And so definitely when we try to harness that, that's their competencies, and what we can bring on the table is the experience that they don't have. And they're very much, and you would see when you talk to millennials and Gen Z, they listen. They listen if they find your stories inspiring. So probably rather than giving directions, you may want to spin off your technique into storytelling technique. So which is why now it's not just about our people adapting to the leaders, but it's also the leaders adapting to our people so that we can make it work because there's really a generation gap.
Wow, thank you for that. Okay, I hope that helped you, dear participant. Here's another question. Okay, this one is really interesting. How do you manage people who are ill on a regular basis? Like they have a monthly dysmenorrhea, almost weekly migraine. Okay, I have a migraine and it's irregular. So I am really interested in hearing your answer, Coach Vivian.
Okay. Actually, it happened to me because I actually underwent surgery at the back. So I went laminectomy when I was younger. So in fact, the doctor told me that I was 30 years old during that time, but my bone was for an age of 70. So so I really need to go through surgery. I went through a surgery, and after that, things seems to be not normal for me, meaning I will always feel back pain even though I do have braces. And it also affected my work productivity. I've been out for a while. And it happens. And so as mentioned to you, sometimes, our tendency is to challenge whether the person really ill. So my suggestion to you is always look at the, I'm not saying the brighter side of things, but look at things on a positive note that this person needs help. So you may want to subject the person for a thorough physical examination, similar to what I've shared to you a while ago. And through that, you will understand what's really causing the issue, what's causing the illnesses, and then you can come up with a health management plan. So involve your doctor, involve your nurse if you don't have a doctor but you have a company nurse, involve those and involve the managers so that the employee's productivity would improve, because at the end of the day, the performance of people is measured by the productivity, not measured, it's even though we empathize, but it's still, if they do not improve, then they will be subject to performance improvement plan. But why wait for the performance improvement plan if you can already come up with a health management plan for your people? Which is why I also would like to advise you, if you have a company doctor, let your company doctor work with your people so that you have a proactive approach in health management. So your company doctor is there to help your people not to get sick, not just to issue fit to work and to issue or to prescribe medicines.
Okay, thank you. Another one. Okay, this one is also interesting. Would love to hear your answer. This is the question. How to say no when someone is applying for a leave?
It really depends what type of leave. For me, again, it's always business requirement, which is the primary point of consideration, not even just on leave, even on resignation. So if you think it will not hamper the productivity of the team, okay, then why don't you allow people to go on vacation? Because people deserve to rest as well. People deserve some vacation time, right? Okay, but if this is a business requirement, then you must learn how to say no. As a leader, we must learn how to say no. And for me, how to say no, again, just focus on the leadership messaging that I shared to you. The why. Always talk about the why. Why can you not say yes? Okay, because this is the impact. Because this is what you want to achieve as a team. And why? And what does it mean when someone is absent? What does it mean in terms of achieving deliverables and target? What does it mean to the team when you are not able to achieve your target? But at the end of the day, you can also do consensus, for example. But if you're able to achieve it, we're able to achieve the target ahead of time, then I can allow you to go on leave, right? And some other time. So it's a matter of making them realize, okay, that you are saying no because it's a business leave, not because you just don't like them to go on leave.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Okay, another question here. This time it's from Alberto Matibag. How do you deal with the not feeling well reason?
Okay, so a lot of companies do have policy on sick leave. So some of them would say if you're on leave for one day, then you are not required to go for medical certificate, right? So, and a lot of people are taking advantage of that. So not feeling well, and then I go on leave. Because why? Because I have sick leave credits that I need to earn, right? So, but when you talk about not feeling well, I think it's time for you to ask the questions. Why are you not feeling well? What's causing the unwell feeling? Okay, that's where the conversation on counseling can start to kick in. So when employees tell you they're not feeling well, because when people tell you they're not feeling well, it's either they're sick, okay, there's some mental issues, or they have some mental concerns, they're stressed and they just would like to rest, or they're already on quiet quitting. And those things you can only determine, okay, when you do an active listening and a counseling conversation with your people. So I really encourage you to talk to your people more often, because the people or the generation now have more issues, okay? They have more challenges, okay, that they face. So remember, we are still in pandemic. And even though we have work, your people have work, their family members might have been affected. So sometimes they used to be, they're not the breadwinner of the family. Now they're the breadwinner of the family. And it affects the way they manage themselves.
Okay, next question. We still have room for a few more questions. So this one is from Olivia. What intervention can the institution offer to employees who are on the verge of quiet quitting? Can we detect it even without them telling anybody?
Yeah. For example, if the person is performing in the past, if the person is engaged, if the employee or the people is engaged in the past, so they actively participate in your company events, they share their thoughts, their feedback, and then suddenly, okay, they become quiet, they become your 8 to 5 or 9 to 6 person on the job, then you have to be alarmed by that one. So it does not necessarily mean that you need to watch out for a slide in performance, but if there's something that changed in the behavior from being engaged to not so engaged, it's something that you may want to take into account. So that's already an indicator of quiet quitting. What intervention you're gonna do about it? So it's always that's why as an HR practitioner, I'm a fan of employee feedback session. I really encourage HR people and managers to do frequent feedback session with their people. Feedback session means talking to them one-on-one just for 30 minutes, checking how they feel about work. Are there any issues, okay, that they're experiencing about work? Because it gives people a level of comfort. When people are comfortable discussing issues, okay, concerns, okay, with their team members or with their with a support system, then I think they would be engaged and they would always feel connected with the company. Remember, engagement is not about employee activities. Engagement is how people feel, okay, towards the company. So that's why a lot of organizations spend on employer branding. But for me, one best way of employer branding is to really connect in the real world, connect with people.
Okay, thank you so much. The next question is somehow connected to that. Here's the question. What is your recommendation if it is the manager or the leader who is the one who is experiencing quiet quitting?
Okay. So if it's the manager or leader who's experiencing quiet quitting, so it's very important to understand why the quiet quitting is happening. So it's really more about understanding the root cause as to why it's happening. So what's causing the demotivation or the frustration? And is it something that you can manage? I probably would adjust it in an HR perspective. And I used to be an HR business partner. And part of the things that I'm doing is I really talk to the managers and leaders. Okay, I catch up with them, just talk to them, just checking how they are. Because managers, remember, they are always sandwiched by the senior leaders and by our people. They are the bridge, they connect. So if your managers are not connected, how can we be assured, okay, that our goals and targets would be achieved? So which is why it's very important for our managers to always feel connected. And for that, I always maintain a very open relationship with managers. So it's very important that, and this is, I think, where HR can see things as an intervention. It's very important they trust their HR team. They trust the HR people that they can confide, and HR can create intervention for it. So there are times in my career when people would reach out to me, or a supervisor will reach out to me and will talk about their managers. And I talk to managers one-on-one. I give them feedback, and I also ask them what's bugging them up, especially when you see that there has been a decline in terms of their performance. So why it's also important for us to emphasize to the managers and leaders the role that they play in the organization. So they really drive the organization, and they can also be stressed out. So if there's things that you can be of help to your managers, then it's something that you may want to listen as well. So active listening is very important if you're in the HR practice or if you are in a leadership role.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, the question of Jeneline was answered a while ago. I'll move on to the next one. Okay, here is another question. How do you handle employees who render resignation and eventually they withdraw? And then after a month, he renders again. Ano yung laban bawi?
Laban bawi, no? So my suggestion to you is let them go. Let them go, because unfortunately they might be using your company as a nesting ground. You know, a nesting ground, okay, a place where they can stay when they don't have better opportunity. So and of course, as a company, while you want to keep your people, you are also investing on your people. So if the employee withdraws the resignation once, that's good. Okay, it's okay. I mean, it's okay. It's an opportunity for you to work again with the person. But if it's been a habit of him or her, then my suggestion or my advice to you is to let go, because either they're looking for they're just using the company as a nesting ground, or they're just negotiating for a better package. And it's very difficult to hold on to people just for salary, because what will happen to you is you will always negotiate for their pay, and the pay will always be higher, and you will end up losing the person as well. So for me, first time you talk to the person, you encourage them to withdraw their resignation, and they do, be thankful for that. But if they do it again the second time, let them go. As what Elsa have said, let them go, let them go. Right, Kate?
Yes, the cold never bothered me anyway, Coach Vivian. Thank you for your answer. Another one. Okay, Jonalyn, your question also has been answered a while ago, so I'll move to the next one. This is from Zaira. In line with the frequent sick leave of the employee, what if he or she doesn't want to comply with the required APE?
Okay, so actually, annual physical examination, this one I'll give you some legal framework. Okay, so part of the obligation of the company is to make sure that employee, when you hire the employee, they're fit, and when they leave the company, they're fit. So which is why if you look into the labor law, it says that employee must be fit when they leave the company. And a lot of people, a lot of HR practitioners, when they heard us, like, wow. So do we need to subject employee for post-employment medical examination? That's the reason why you're doing the annual physical examination. The annual physical examination gives you a level of comfort that your people, okay, are physically fit to do the job. So APE, or annual physical examination, is not a want, it's a need. And if it's a need, it needs to be enforced. And if the person doesn't want to undergo APE, you need to know why. Okay, and you need to let them know that it will help them, to go through a physical examination. A lot of people can I speak in Tagalog for a while? A lot of people doesn't want to go through APE. Kung di mo daw alam ang sakit mo, okay, hindi mo daw mararamdaman na may sakit ka. So if you don't get yourself checked, you would know that you're sick, and so therefore you will not feel sick. But that's not actually a good reason. So you need to go through the physical examination because, okay, it's for our health, it's for our well-being. And at the end, you can impose that because it's a need and it's part of the legal guidance, okay, that every company must adhere into.
Okay. Next question. This is from Mickey. We are a logistics company. During the surge of the pandemic, we implemented a work from home, but now we are usually back to normal, but not as good as 100%. The company required us all to return to work at the office. What if the employee files a work from home due to illness, though he has a sick leave? Okay, I'm not sure about that. How do we deal with it?
Okay, so some employees, when they're sick, they file for a work from home arrangement so that they don't take their sick leave, because what they mentioned is that they are capable of working from home. So actually, it's a management discretion if you would like to allow that or not. So if you would like to allow it, it's your discretion, but take note that it can set as a precedent. So you need to be ready for others to do it as well. Okay, so second, you can opt not to approve it or not to allow it, okay, citing the condition that the employee is unwell. So therefore, he or she needs to rest. Okay, so that's actually your discretion. In my perspective, this is how I manage things. So if there were times in the past that people get exposed to COVID positive employees, right? And we need to isolate them. So we need to put them under quarantine. So I allow them to work from home. But if they're sick, then let them rest so that they will be able to recuperate.
Okay, next one. Here's an interesting question again. Considering the weather now that's too cold and many of our employees are getting sick, do we need to follow the IATF isolation guidelines since the latest GL was issued on June 2022 when the weather was not this cold yet? So does it apply?
Yeah, so it's actually up to the company if you would like to implement a more stringent guideline. So what IATF provided is the minimum requirements of the law. So, but for of course, in the past when people have colds, we allow them to report for work, right? But right now it's a symptoms of COVID. So my suggestion still is that if it falls under the symptoms of COVID, then it's better for people not to report for work and for people to file leave of absence. So that's something also that we need to consider, because we cannot just simply say, oh, it's just colds, because now we cannot distinguish a cold and COVID. So yes, again, so you can apply a more stringent guidelines when it comes, like I do have a client right now that they do not allow people when you have cough or colds reporting to the office, and that's a protection. And that's where the thin line we're in. They allow people to work from home, because if it's cough and colds and you don't have headaches or fever, then that's allowed. So I would suggest it will now be to the discretion of the company, but you need to be mindful to balance productivity and employee well-being.
Okay. Oh, another one. Okay. Can you ask an employee to report back to work even if the employee is on medical leave?
What's the nature of the leave of absence? So that's something that we need to consider. If the nature of the medical leave is, for example, like it's surgery, you cannot really ask them to report for work immediately. So I suggest it would be good to understand first the nature of the illness and as to why employee cannot report to work. And if the reason is valid, then I think you don't have any other option but to allow the person to complete the medical leave. If it's not, then, for example, there are some people who would like to extend their medical leave even if the doctor already tells them that they are fit to report for work. So if that's the case, then I suggest allow them like a period of time, okay, to adjust, say like a week, and then require them to report for work because they are now capable of reporting to the office.
Okay,
so it's a balance of being considerate, but at the same time being firm, okay, in terms of the management decision.
Thank you for that. Here's another question. This time it's from Catherine. How are you dealing with employees who are always using the reason, may emergency lang sa bahay?
Okay, so if that's the case, you probably need to counsel the person and ask what are the issues at home, okay, that are affecting. But it's very important for her to understand, okay, that the personal issues are affecting work, okay, so that you're there to help but not to tolerate. Okay, so again, as I always mention to my team members, what help do you need from us? We would be able to extend, like, do you need a month of leave? to settle all of your personal issues, but after that, we expect you to be well and to be able to carry it out, right? So with that kind of conversation, you show to people that you are empathic, that you are willing to support, but you're also letting them understand the value of making sure that they're able to deliver the output needed by the business.
Okay, next one. How do we manage personals who are always using the reason walang mag-aalaga ng anak?
Okay, so similarly, so ask them, what support do you need from us? Okay, and do you need more time to look for a nanny? Okay, can you balance work and life? And the only question you do not ask is to make them choose which is more important. Okay, work or family. Do not ask that question because the answer will always be family. And so what the conversation should be around the tone. What support do you need? Do you want to go on leave for 2 weeks, okay, just to find a nanny for you, okay, or to resolve the issues that they have at hand, okay? And so give them opportunity. Not all companies are actually child friendly, but in a previous company that I've been with, we are. So we have kind of like a daycare center where our people can bring their children. And in fact, there's instance that because we are a shared service center, our rest area, so we have a single parent, and she really would like to go to work, but unfortunately she cannot leave her daughter alone. We allowed her to bring the child in the office in the rest area, and we even relocate her during that time to a work desk near the rest area so that she can watch over her child. If you can do that, then it's a support, right? That you can offer to your team member. But if you cannot, because there are some restrictions, which you also must understand, then allow them time to settle or resolve the issues. Okay, and expect them to be back at this particular and be okay. So it's also like letting them know, okay, that you are here to support, but you also cannot give them the leeway for life. Okay, but another thing you may want to consider is, like for me, when I used to manage a team, I always check who are my flight risk because of certain issues. So you already anticipate what to do, okay, on your flight risk employees. Okay, so you may also want to do that as well, so that you can plan ahead of time.
Okay, thank you so much, Ms. Vivian. So salute to all companies who are supporting their employees who are parents like me. I was able to bring my kid here in the office before when he was still small. So salute to companies like that. Okay, next question. Okay, here's a question from Mickey. How do we handle employees who file a leave for 15 days, then they didn't pursue it, then not pursued to return, and then filed a resignation immediately instead?
Okay, so this is where you can, it's sad though that those things are happening, so don't get me wrong. So one of the things that you may want to consider, and this I did for a client because there has been an abuse already on the notice period. So people will not complete the notice period, and they will give you 1,001 excuses as to why they cannot complete the notice period. So I advise the HR team to make sure that they impose the policies on the notice period. So the law, okay, provides a 30 days notice period, so you can bank on that. But at the same, but for me, it's not about the 30-day notice periods, but it's about the proper handover. So employee must comply and must make sure that there's proper handover that needs to be done. If the employee cannot observe the notice period, you can actually, it's your call whether you would like to accept employee's resignation, okay, within the notice period or less than the notice period. It's your discretion. It's your prerogative. So if you do not want to approve that, then you let them know as to the reason why, and you require them to report for work. If they do not report for work, then actually that's now where the employee discipline will come in, because it can be considered as overwork and later on an abandonment of work.
Okay, thank you so much for that, Coach Vivian. That is our last question. Maraming salamat. You've been very generous in answering the questions from all of our participants. And thank you so much to our participants for asking those questions. We really learned a lot from you. Thank you so much for that. Now, because of that, we'd like to present our speaker with a certificate. So let me just read this. Ariva Academy Learning Development at its finest gratefully presents the Certificate of Appreciation to Coach Vivian C. Cruz for generously sharing her professional expertise, valuable knowledge, and wisdom to the delegates of how to manage employee sickness, absence, and employee return to work. Held on January 11, 2023 via Zoom platform, signed by the Chairman and Chief Strategist, Learning Event Producer, J.M. Atienzo, and the President and Chief Learning and Development Strategist, Michelle Irish Malonda Samson. Ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for our speaker, Coach Vivian Cruz.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Miss Vivian, for sharing your insights. And again, to all of our participants, thank you so much. Now, before we call it a day, I would like to invite everyone to turn on their cameras for those of you who are able to join us in this group photo. Let's have our group photo taken. There you go. So again, for those of you who are able to turn on your cameras, and we will be asking the assistance of our technical director, DJ Eric. Can you help us out?
Yes, thank you so much, Miss Kate. So good day, everyone. So we have 2 shots of group picture for this PM session. Okay, ready for the first shot, guys? Come on. Show me your beautiful smiles in 3, 2, 1. Okay, and for our final shot, can we do a hand hearts?
Hand heart, like
yes,
this.
How about hand hearts? Come on, guys, hand hearts. Okay, I think we're ready. Here we go. Okay, in 3, 2, 1. Yes, thanks so much. Back to you, Miss Kate.
Thank you so much. A while ago, I saw a message here in the chat box asking how they can join our next programs. You can go to our website, www.ariva.com.ph, so you can register via online or give us a call here at the office. Thank you so much. In behalf of everyone from Ariva Academy, I'd like to say thank you for being with us on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon, learning with us, learning from our speaker and learning from all of our participants as well. Maraming salamat. We are looking forward to welcoming you in our next learning events. We are looking forward to spending 2023 with all of you. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everyone. God bless you all. Thank you.
mine.